What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Corso Academy. I am your host, Pam Gresock, of course, and we have Whitney Whitaker and Tony Scandy of Scandifio County Corso, and we have a very special guest today, Eric Stanbro. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
It is such an honor. Before we get started, I just want to kind of say this was kind of my first introduction to Eric, so a lot of people can bear with me in being kind of just new to the dog space. So this is super fun for me to have somebody like you on, and of course be able to talk with Whitney and Tony. I am going to introduce Eric today to everybody. So he's here on the Corso Academy to discuss a very vital topic. So this is something that's pretty hot on the internet right now, probably been something talked about a lot, but there's a lot of attention surrounding it. And Eric's going to talk about whether a family household should consider having a large protection trained guardian breed. Eric, let me tell you about Eric for 1 second. Eric is a retired police officer from Canton, Ohio. Everybody's over there in Ohio, except me in Michigan. Yeah. I'm over here by myself. Eric has over 23 years of experience as a canine handler and trainer. He retired in 2018, and then he founded Vaness K9 Academy right there in Ohio and established Ridgeside K9, Ohio, where he focuses on training both police dogs and pet dogs. So that is one of the many reasons we thought that Eric's background and expertise could bring a wealth of knowledge about canine behavior and training philosophies to the Corso Academy. And then Whitney, I kind of wanted to lead that to you, and how that Eric's kind of the bridge between you and Tony, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sure is. So Eric is a friend of mine, and somebody that I look up to. He's a mentor of mine. I'm going to tell you that if I have a lot of friends in the business, and if I need advice or if I run up against a problem, that's the first guy I call. I can trust his advice, and he's always there to help me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate his friendship. But Eric is a very pivotal part of my story, because Eric is really the one who led me to Tony. And how that started was my Malinois was getting older, and I was thinking, man, do I want to get another Malinois? I don't know, like kind of, Malinois are a lot to live with, And so I was talking, about it with Danny and thinking, what do I want to do? And I said, I'm calling Eric. I'm gonna see what he has to say about this. So I'm talking to him. I said, Roman's getting older. I don't know if I want to do another Mal, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid if I lose my Malinois, that I'm going to lose a lot of workability, and a lot of what I'm used to in owning a Malinois and going through my life with a Malinois as my sidekick. And I said, what should I get? If I'm not going to get a Malinois or Dutch Shepherd, what should I get? And he says, well, I think you should get a Cane Corso. I said, you're working with the same Cane Corsos I'm working with? Really? You really think I should get a Cane Corso? And he said, yeah, I think you should. I said, okay. I said, well, give me a name. And he says, Tony Scandy. I said, okay. And that's
how it got started.
Yeah. I think when you called me, I was I had a kennel where I was importing dogs and training and selling police dogs. And I had 7 Malinois in the kennel, and you called me. I was at the kennel. I looked around and went, yeah, don't do that. It's enough of the mouse, and it was, my kennel was about 3 minutes from her place. So I'd see her. Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah. When your kennel was there, you stop and by all the time and everything. Yeah, that was fun.
Before we get into that story a little bit, Eric, can you tell us really quickly about, because I didn't have a lot of information on this, and I don't want this to go away before we go on, about your podcast. So you also have a podcast there. You can see in the background.
Yeah, Working Dog Radio. Yeah, myself and I have a co-host named Ted. We started this podcast in February of 2018. I was still at the police department. I didn't retire until November. We were the first in that space, the podcasting space, on the working dog side. In 2018, there's podcasts, but nothing like it is today. And we didn't know anything. We did all the mistakes. There was none of this software or anything like that. We were using Zoom and whatever else we were doing in the audio. If you go back, we had good shows and the audio is terrible. So like, I don't even know if you can even find episode 1, 2, or 3 or the beginning or whatever. But I had, prior to being a cop, I had been a DJ in strip clubs. If I'm
I
being
forgot
honest.
about that.
Strip club DJ, weddings and stuff. So, and I give a lot of speeches and talks. So talking was never a problem. It's not a thing that bothers me. So Ted and I had kind of knew each other. We did know each other through, it's a long story, but so yeah, we just, we do 2 episodes. Well, we do an episode basically every other Thursday. We just recorded one last night, as a matter of fact. They come out. We try to keep a couple of them in the can so that we're ahead a little bit, but it doesn't always work out that way. So we'll have guests on. We have guests. If we'll go to some big, huge conferences, we'll try to get 5 or 6 of those. A little bit shorter. Talk about what people are teaching. I don't do. And in the dog world, it's pretty crappy, right? There's a lot of drama and there's a lot of fighting. I think originally people wanted us to be a kind of a gotcha show where we bring people on and then argue with them and debate them and make them look stupid or whatever. And I said, I'm not going to do that. Nobody wants to hear that. They don't. You'll have a very minuscule amount of people listening to show if all you do is argue with people and talk and do all the negativity. They don't want to hear it.
Or they won't stick around, at least.
They
right?
won't. No, you'll have a niche people.
Yeah.
So it's weird, man. There's a couple and I say this, but there's a couple episodes on there that are called the Eric Rant episodes. And Whitney can tell you, I can be a fiery person. And some of that, when I retired, there's probably some PTSD in there. I have multiple brain injuries from motorcycle crash and wakeboard injuries and all kinds of stuff. Which doesn't help. And I get very opinionated about things and I will fire off. And they are very popular episodes as far as downloads go, but the unhealthy, like super unhealthy. And when I talk to people, when I meet people at a conference, because of my number in this space, like how many people know me, I have a little bit of notoriety in the working dog space. People line up to talk to me at these things. And I wrote a book. I give autographs on my book and everything like that. And they'll go, "Hey man, those were cool, but I wouldn't do those anymore." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not, man." So our show has become more. I mean, we do training. We have people on there. We're trying to talk about training things and new ideas. And I've taken some things from guests and used them, and so has Ted. Ours has become a little bit more entertainment anymore lately. Like we had a guest on the other day. He wrote a book called Living with Grief. He was a Marine Corps handler who got blown up in Afghanistan. His dog Grief got killed. And so we're not learning anything from him, right? But it's more a story and telling about his book and promoting. So it's kind of evolved and changed. Yeah. But then like last night's episode was about a training episode. About something that I'm working with on the e-collar. E-collar is my specialty. It's something I'm working on with the e-collar that is not in my book, but it is now in my seminars, and it's now a big thing on my pet dog stuff. So, yeah, and this is another problem with me. You ask me a question and go, and then 10 minutes later, I take a breath. But
so that's why I wanted to make sure we didn't miss this portion, because I think that's important. I think that our listeners need to understand how important your information is to the Corso space, because that's where we are. So there's so much knowledge and so many things that he's going to share with us today. I just didn't want to let that go to the side before we had time for it. So you guys can find him over there too.
Yeah. So Tony and I have never met, but we're very similar because I've watched some of your episodes. And Tony's like, "Hey, let me say something real quick." And 15 minutes later, he's done. It's like, go, brrr, done. And you're like, "Well,
you guys are both shy, so it's okay."
It's funny. I was going to do it right now. I was going to say, let me say something real quick. But I promise this will be a very quick one. So one of the things that I want to say real quick, and this is honestly going to be quick. We're not bringing anybody on this podcast that isn't the elite of the elite, the true experts in the world class. Anybody that's coming on here, I know it's a Corso podcast, but I get a lot of people asking questions about where do I learn training. Go to this man's stuff. Go to everything he has. You will learn. He's an expert of all experts, top notch. It doesn't get any higher. The type of people like himself, Justin, that we brought on the other day, those are the elites. We will not have anybody on this podcast that's not an elite. Go listen to his stuff. If you didn't listen to what he just said and all the things that he just said, rewind the episode when you watch it next, pick it all up, go on his podcast. Eric, give it again so that people can know where to go to. And that's why I just want to say that real quick and let people realize who you are. We're not bringing anybody that's not the best of the best on here.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm very humbled. Justin and I watched that episode. I've known him for years. I've been to his house several times. We all train in the same space. It's a small community. You know, everybody kind of knows each other, whether you like each other, don't like each other, whatever. We all know each other. But it's Working Dog Radio. It's on all the places. We have on YouTube. We didn't start YouTube till about 2 years ago, I think. And we try to focus. Send some people to YouTube because you can monetize YouTube. We're monetized, but we can't because. So if you listen to my show, don't listen to it around your children and don't listen to it without headphones in because I cuss a lot. And if you cuss within the certain amount of time on the podcast on YouTube, I think it's within the first minute or two, they'll demonetize the episode. And so I'm like, blah, 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 F-bomb. Dang it. Damn it. Oh, shit. And then it just goes from there. So, but yeah, Working Dog Radio. We have workingdogradio.com. We sell merch and stuff on there. We have some pretty funny designs of stuff on there. We have a shirt that looks like Donald Trump. It's a Malinois with his hair and it says "Make America Bite Again." It's pretty funny. Just small little dumb things on there. And, but yeah, it's good. It's good. I really like we have sponsors, right? We have a lot of sponsors and it does bring in some income, but that's really not it. I meet people. I love being at these seminar or the conferences, meeting people, hearing from them, guys that are badass handlers. They come over. Hey man, it's so nice to meet you. Like, I love everything you're doing. I'm like, me? I'm like, you're out here every day still, man, doing it. You're the guy, that type of stuff. So It's real cool. I use it for that. And I do learn some stuff. I will flat out steal some crap from people and I expect them to steal from me. So
Eric, let me chime in again 1 second, guys. Let me chime in one more time. So a comment that you made on here, and it's a comment that you made and it makes 100% sense, but I want the people to understand the comment. You said that it's a very small world of the trainers, very small niche. You guys, you all know each other. Here's the deal. It's just like breeders. It's not a small niche of trainers. There's hundreds of thousands of millions of them out there that don't know shit, period. It's what it is there's a small niche of you experts that are the people that the world should pay attention to and learn from. That's the small niche that you all know each other. All of the elite know each other. You guys don't waste your time with all these jerk-offs that really, truly don't know jack shit about training at all, as well as, unfortunately, we don't waste our time with breeders that don't know jack shit, that are just doing it to make money, puppy millers. You got your trainers out there doing the same shit. You got a bunch of trainers with podcasts that don't know anything. And that's why I said about the elite of the elite. So you're absolutely correct. There's a small niche of you guys, the real trainers, people you could learn from. You got people coming to you, honored and incredible to see you and meet you. You're looking at them like, I feel the same way about you because you are the elites. That's why I just wanted to make sure I
appreciate that. That's very nice.
Yeah. So let's make sure.
Real quick. Meanwhile, I was cleaning up dog shit about 10 minutes before we started. So I don't know how elite you can be in this realm, but
we don't clean shit. We ain't elite.
Dogs humble you every day.
You know what's interesting is because you guys have never met each other, right? But I know you both well, and you both are incredible wealths of knowledge in your own right and what you do. And I know you both very well on a personal level. You're both very humble. I've come to both of you and I've told you both different things. And I don't have nearly the experience either of you have, in my opinion. And you both have taken even things that I've said, and you've taken it to heart, and you've been humble enough to even listen to me. So you're both very humble, for as absolutely knowledgeable as you are. And I love
and
that.
Neither of you guys like to talk at all.
Right.
I mean, it's silence. So I want to make sure that we can get to our subject here. That is my job here on the Corso Academy, is to make sure that we do we provide the listeners with this very important topic here. So I don't know, Whitney, if you want to take this, or Eric, you want to go ahead and talk about this. A lot of people are getting large guardian breeds, whether it's Corso or a Doberman, like Tony, we were just talking about a second ago, because right off the AKC Westminster. And they want these dogs, and these average pet home owner or average pet homes, like Whitney and I always talk about, see these dogs and they're like, yeah, I want this dog and I want it to like protect me and my family, and I'm going to get it protection trained. I want it protection trained. So can you maybe, Eric, explain what protection trained means to the average person that's looking at these dogs online? It's like, yeah, that's what I want to protect my house. And then tell us whether you think that is what somebody actually needs in their home. And then you can kind of maybe even talk about the Corso that you've worked with, and why you suggested Tony's dogs to Whitney when she was looking for a dog.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go off of what a perfect scenario is for a protection dog, and then I'll go off of what a reality is. But so the perfect scenario is you get a dog that's super well mentally stable, social, right? A social, even if the dog is just neutral, like could care less about people but doesn't bother them, not afraid of them, neutral. And then you teach that dog to do bite work on command. Right. Sometimes you might be some protection trainers are teaching like a bark on command, like a guard type bark. If you have a large protection type breed or that size, a bark can be often enough. Shepherds, Dobermans, Corso, their bark is nobody's coming over there. Right. Yeah. So, but they want to do the bite work too. So we started them on, tugs and toys, and then sleeves, and we get to the suit, and eventually the job of the protection dog is to engage the guy, the intruder, guy trying to attack you out in your yard or whatever it is, while you get away. Right? It's not his job to be like a police dog and chase the guy down 4 or 5 blocks down the street. His job is to occupy that person while you leave.
To guard the space.
Guard the space.
Mm-hmm.
And unless the dog is trained to do that, they don't protect people naturally. I still believe that the dogs are protecting themselves, and they're just out in front of you because they don't trust your ass to do it. Right. So there's some people I know, they're like, I think my dog's protecting me. I'm like, your dog, you ever hear that story? I don't have to be the fastest to get away. I just have to be faster than you when you run from like a bear. That's the dog's like, peace. Sorry. So the big misnomer in there is that you need this psycho, right? This dog that is a junkyard dog, and nobody else. And listen, there are people that have property guardian dogs like junkyards and car dealerships and different things like that. And that's just a wild ass dog, very feral. But it's the exact opposite, because you need an on switch and an off switch. Your dog will, if you have a protection dog, there's 0.00001% that dog will ever have to do his job, but 99.9999% that he has to be a family dog every single day, right?
Yeah. So this is the perfect scenario we're talking about.
Correct. This is the perfect scenario. And I know guys who train those dogs, like they're perfect at it, and still they get returns, right? Because the owners can't do this, can't do that. So that's what you want for it. It's flashy, it's fancy, you get some cool obedience, there's a lot of influencers that have it and they're not really needing the dog. I have a lady who comes to me to do bite work. She bought the dog from somewhere else. They trained her somewhere else. She just comes to me and we do bite work because I like her dog. She needs a protection dog because she has, based on her job, she has stalkers, like pretty severe threats. She doesn't like guns. I'm like, go get a gun. That's my thing. I think you should be protecting yourself, but she's not into guns, and that's her thing. And then there's a couple other private clients that come to me for the bite work because they just want to do cool shit with their dog. It's not really necessarily, they don't believe is going to be a protection dog, but they do the bite work. I don't really do it with civilians that much. But I have these few, and I did it as a favor to somebody, and I actually like these ladies. So we have fun. But in the dog world, in the real protection side, bite work side, it's filled with charlatans, filled with scammers, filled with con artists. The girl who I'm talking about that has the stalkers, her dog, she got bamboozled by some guy in a foreign country. And if you're listening to this now, because the breeder or the trainer has an accent does not mean he knows shit, just so you guys know. It's one of the biggest scams perpetrated on the American public is, oh, he's got a German accent, he must be really good. No. So anyway, she pays X amount of money for this dog. The dog comes, the dog's fearful, reactive of other dogs, has some problems. My buddy fixes it. She lives closer to me than him, so I do that work. But the dog is 2, 3, 2.5, already has the hip dysplasia, has elbow dysplasia. So that's what happens is you get these guys. So you talk about, Tony, a lot of times about backyard breeders. You have these backyard trainers that think they're training these pitties or Rottweilers or whatever to be protection dogs. And what they're actually doing is they're just putting out high defensive psychopaths. And that's impossible to live with. So what happens is you spend $20,000 on a protection dog, right? Everything you have. Maybe that's a lot of money, $20,000 on a protection dog. To get to the right people that do the right thing, you should be about $100,000. And those trainers aren't going to sell to you. They're going to sell to the multi-millionaire who can afford the mistake that they're invariably going to make. And when they get sued, that's what happens with those dogs. So if I'm going to sell, like if I was to import, raise or whatever and train protection dogs, it's going to be $75,000 a dog minimum.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah.
Because the first time, and I'll just keep going because I'm going to dovetail into your question about should they have those.
Yeah. No.
The first time you use that dog, your homeowner's insurance is gone, period. It's done. It's over. Your dog bites anyone and they find out your dog was trained to bite, your homeowner's insurance is gone. Amazon, if your dog got out and he's cool and Amazon driver startles him and he bites him, the Amazon drivers now have figured out amongst themselves to sue your homeowner's insurance, not through Amazon. They do it personally themselves. I've talked to several of them and I know somebody who's been sued. The homeowner's insurance will pay it and drop you immediately. Then good luck. Most people should not think about having a trained protection dog unless they can afford the shit that comes with it. Because what happens is you get these morons, they get these dogs, then they're drinking at a party at their house and they're drunk. Let me show you something. Let me show you something cool that my dog will. Hey, go over there and grab me. Come grab me and see what he does. And then they bite the guy or they do dumb shit.
Yeah.
That's when dogs get returned to the people. And then the trainer's is on the hook for getting sued. And you as the trainer, one of the hardest things for me on Vaness K9 is I have to carry a $2 million insurance policy because I had to bid on certain government contracts. I have to have that. In the dog world, it's very hard. I'm on my fifth or sixth company because what happens is you'll get a company that, we're going to do kennels. We'll do trainers, training companies. And you get a year or two into that company and some moron in Tucson, Arizona or wherever does some dumb crap with his dog. And next thing you know, we're all dumb. They dump every kennel and every trainer and everybody in the entire United States. I'm on my fifth company because of that. Because those companies will tell you no bite work. Those insurance companies, no bite work. You can do all the barking crap you want. Now they allow me to do it because it's police dogs. But I've had insurance companies tell me we will only insure you on the police side. If you try to do protection dogs, we ain't doing it. I'm not going to pay for it.
So it's a huge liability on a lot of accounts.
And people can't afford it. You imagine losing your homeowner's insurance. Your homeowner's insurance is tied into your mortgage and all that. And you can't find a homeowner's insurance. It's bad enough that a lot of places will not insure you having a German Shepherd, a Malinois, a Dutch Shepherd, some Corsos, some places, Rotties and things like that. And now you have one that bit somebody, even if it was, and again, that's the problem is they're just what people think a protection dog should be is actually not it. It should be a great family dog. But again, you don't need to do the bite work. If I go to Whitney's house right now and I get out of my truck at her house, and I've done this, and her Corsos are outside, I know they're cool, right? But if I didn't, I'm not going over there. I'm not. That's aesthetically, that's most of what people need, right? Hey, don't come over here, or they're cool. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to chance it. I'm not going to find out for myself.
I know Whitney and I know her dogs, and I haven't been there in a while. I hear she has a gaggle of them now. But I know the dogs that she has, and if she says, yeah, come on up, I'm coming up. But some stranger pulling into her property, because her property's out in the country, weirdos get out there, and they're not gonna come. That dog doesn't have to do shit. Doesn't have to bark. He just stands there, this big, muscular, imposing animal. So, people ask it. A lot of shepherd people want protection work. I just won't do it. I'll do the obedient stuff for you. Give you a nice, real obedient dog, and I have a couple guys I know. I'll send you to them, and leave it up to their insurance to deal with it.
Yeah. So you're saying people actually think they want a protection dog, but what they want is an obedient large dog to look the part.
You're better off. You're not going to get in trouble there. And if you have children, Ted, my co-host, he always does this. He has this line. He goes, "You cannot train a dog to bite and act surprised when he does."
Yeah.
And these gamey type dogs that some of these people are getting, that it moves, they bite it. Whether it's little, whether it's big, whether it's an animal, whether it's whatever. You're just risking everything with your children if you have a dog trained to bite living in the house. It's just, listen, you might go your whole life and nothing ever happens. I think you got lucky.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild, Eric, the stuff that you're talking about, like what we see or what I see in the Corsos for all the years I've been doing it, is we get a lot of people that get into the breed, and I don't know if you're aware. Well, you are, if you watch a couple of the podcasts and you've seen some of the dogs, what I breed for. Total, you said it, Justin says it, total mental stability. Some of these breeders in this breed act like it's a hard word to understand. Well, what does that mean? I mean, it means everything. The dog has to be extremely mentally sound to be able to know what's going on at all times and figure it out on his own, because the dog's that well bred genetically and mentally in its mind. So I've seen people get in this and they do it just to try to solicit sales, where they're going to go the other route. I got protection dogs. Tony's dogs are lap dogs. Tony's dogs, they're not going to protect. My dogs are going to protect incredibly better than all of their dogs are going to protect, because for one, they're mentally sound and they're going to do what they're supposed to do when needed, if needed. But they're stable enough to be out with people. So these people get into this, and then they're going to do these protection dogs, show all this bite work stuff. And like you said, it's dangerous. None of them have those $2 million policies that they're supposed to be carrying. Their customers are going to get a dog from them. Somebody's going to get bit or attacked. It's going to be on them. They're going to get sued. It's going to be a mess, and it's going to be a disaster. The dogs that they're working with, they want these insanely like Malinois type Corsos. That's a seriously dangerous dog when you're talking about a Malinois type Corso, because Malinois is, 60, 70 pounds, some a little bit bigger, strong as hell, powerful. The bite force of a Corso is like 3 or 4 times the bite force of a Malinois. When a Corso does something, it's going to break bone and stuff, 700 pounds PSI pressure. It's a danger that they're doing. And it's something that sickens me that these people are doing it. I'd rather have dogs that are mentally sound, mentally stable, that can go into, just like you said, everybody's family home and be a great family dog. That's what it takes first to even be able to be a protection dog. If a dog, in my opinion, I'm the same way what you said, and we've never talked before in our life till today, the dog can't go into a family home and be totally mentally sound. It should never be trained to take a bite, ever. Right. Now, those dogs could do it. They stably could do it, and I have many that do it. I have a lot of trainers worldwide that will only get dogs from me to go do that stuff, but it's because of that mental stability and that you just talked about. Do you see that too in a lot of the other breeds, not just Corsos, that these people are making that junkyard dog or that dog that they're going to show everybody that's hitting a sleeve and biting, utilizing that stuff as a way to sell their dogs, and they shouldn't even be selling these dogs to anybody?
Yeah, Malinois are a great example. So, when it comes to the police dogs, I'm a Malinois guy. I like them. But the bad ones are really, really bad. Really bad. They're super skittish and afraid or insane. So a lot of Malinois have a screw loose. And if you import, you don't know. I mean, you hopefully your vendor that you've been dealing with is knows, and they'll send me the BRN number and I'll look it up. I go, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not into the lineage. I might have heard of a couple different dogs, but yeah. So when you're selling Malinois, Shepherds, or Dutch Shepherds, these guys will have demo dogs, right? And the demo dog is to show all that fancy stuff, because this is what your dog could be doing. I tell you what, I just did a Malinois, trained a pet Malinois for these two ladies. They got the dog. She's already like a year and a half, 2 years, maybe a little older than that. An 80-year-old man bought this dog because he was watching YouTube videos.
Wow.
And he saw the Malinois leaping up the wall and diving off the boat and doing all the Navy SEAL stuff. And I trained dogs for the Navy SEAls for a little while. Those are just special dogs, right?
Right.
And he gets this dog, and she's really nice, but he's 80 years old and pretty quickly realized, oh no, like
too much.
This is not a Great Dane who's just going to lay around 18 hours a day, right? So then he gave the dog to these ladies, and by that time the dog's a little bit leash reactive, a little bit of fearfulness. I think some of it was ingrained into her probably all the way back in the whelping room,
right? Yeah.
The way she instantaneously reacted to a couple of things. But I had a great time with her. I had a blast with her. And these two ladies having a blast. They're running marathons. They're runners. They're going to bike with the dog. They're going to do it. But the 80-year-old man got fooled by watching videos.
Right.
And that's what happens on social media and stuff like that. Is we
got it nonstop.
Yeah. It's just like when you're advertising when you're doing social media for your pet business, right? Everybody wants to show all this really cool shit with their demo dogs and coming and flipping backwards under their legs and walking backwards around through them. Listen, Mary the Doodle owner just wants her dog to stop eating her underpants and not pull on a leash and quit climbing on the thing.
Right.
So your advertisement, your social media content needs to show, if you're training pet dogs, your social media content needs to show the problems everybody's having and how you fixed it. Show an older lady walking a dog perfectly. Show the dog at the winery sitting down doing that, things like that, where somebody's doom scrolling on Facebook goes, oh, hey, yeah, my dog, that's what I want right there.
Right.
So if your goal is to be selling those protection dogs, you need to show the high flying this and that and all this fancy obedience that the owner can never keep up with and doing all this other cool shit. And then the other problem is when you have the, so like the girl that I work with who bought this dog from a guy in South America, she just got lucky that I live here.
Right.
You know what I mean? She got lucky because that guy's not helping her.
Right.
She don't know anybody else. She's in a whole different industry than we are. She doesn't know she just Googled and found us on Google.
Well, she got lucky as heck.
Yeah. Really. And then I hooked her up with my buddy, Travis, and he's a world-class decoy. He just happens to live in Ashtabula, Ohio. So, it's just, so
the stars aligned.
Yeah.
For her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not very common. So talking about this, Eric, we wanted to bring up how Tony's dogs kind of spoke for themselves as far as the Corso goes, and why, what made his dog stand out when Whitney's like, why would I want a Corso? Have you seen the same Corso that I'm seeing, when you suggested that to her? So you have a little story that goes back to why this is the first time Tony and Eric have ever met.
I didn't hear this yet either.
This is a good one.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to hear that story.
This is a good one. So I retired from the police department in November of 2018. I had already started Vaness K9. I was doing a little bit. I was, I thought maybe I was going to be focusing on police dogs, but the money as far as the business is in the pet dogs. And so I started doing the pet dog stuff, and I was trying in the beginning to train the pet dogs like I would do police dogs. My training now is so much more nuanced than it was even back then. I was still choke chain, some yank and crank type bullshit that I was doing at the police department. Prong collars I was already on too. And I'd already figured out the right way to use the prong collar, but I still was not good, with the e-collar like I am now. I mean, like I said, I traveled the entire country teaching e-collar to police departments all over and some pet dog training companies. But anyways, I get this dog, and I don't know how the lady found me. Her name is Maria and Jason. So they have this Corso. His name is Ragnar. And Ragnar was born, in Ohio. I used to know who the person was, and I've been on some of the forums and things, and was like, wow, it's not a good review. And so Ragnar comes to me massively defensive and all that shit when they dropped him off. So I take him I had this small little kennel at the time off-site, and I take him in there. Now I had him for a month, maybe 3.5 weeks. He bit me 22 times in that time frame.
That's a Corso you're talking about?
Corso.
They brought Ragnar the Corso to you for like a board and train to fix his issues.
To fix his
issues.
And
how old was Ragnar?
2.5, something like that. Yeah,
He's
pretty young.
Full-grown dog, but
yep. One of the gray ones.
You can't say you're a quitter, man.
No, 22, man. I had a point. It was a point. It was a whole thing. Yeah. And a lot of it, what it was is, and if I hadn't done what I'd done in the police side, I was pretty good at bobbing and weaving and not getting bit, but I got bit numerous
50 times.
I have a lot of stitches and things in my body. My vet I would take a picture of the bite and send it to him. I go, is this too bad for you to do? And if it wasn't, I'd go to the vet's office and he would just sew it up. No Novocaine or anything like that, because they sew themselves like every week. But when I got bit in the finger once, he goes, I can see I can see it moving. Go to the. I'm like, okay. So, anyways, so I get Ragnar, and what was happening is, I put him. He was one of the gray ones, so that's important to know. So he was one of the gray ones, and big man. I had a kennel in my car. It was a truck. I had a kennel in my truck. When I took him home that night to the kennel, it was hours to get him out of the truck. And I ended up having to, my buddy who was a cop, I was retired, he was still working. He showed up with a pig pole, a dog catcher, and I got him out, and then he spun in the thing and took himself unconscious.
Oh, because he was trying to bite you, so that's why.
Yeah. So what happens is I get that done. He's unconscious still. I put his prong collar and a muzzle on him while he's out.
Yeah.
And then sterno rubbed him like a nurse does or a doctor does to a patient, woke him up. He was like, what the hell was that? But it ended up, leaving marks on him. So there were some vet visits involved, and the owners came and everything. I'm like, and he watched him try to kill me. So what was happening though, at some point he's on a Baskerville muzzle so he can drink and eat, but it's got to come off. Like, with Corsos, that'll leave marks. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to deal with it. Right. So he's in the kennel. And when I would go into the kennel, I was trying to just slip lead him. Because if I could get him out and moving, we were good. Right. Movement is life with dogs, just like horses.
The pressure sources were,
yeah. You got to get them off the X. And so there's a lot of barrier stuff with him. Well, I would reach in, try to hook him up, and he would bite me in the hand. That's where the bite started. So I was wearing these giant leather suede, like almost welder's gloves. And I would reach in, bam, and he would punk me out. And I was like, man, I got to stop. I got to stop doing that because now it's a thing. What I started doing was reaching in and letting him bite. And then
just get it over with.
Yeah. And then I was like, one time it was bad. Like I had to get my hand out of the glove. I'm like, this is bad.
Oh.
And he's holding the glove. Anyways. So when I stopped moving though, and when I stopped flinching, he stopped doing it. Right. He was going boom and letting go, boom. And then he just stopped. And then Ragnar and I ended up having a really good time. And I ended up having really, in my opinion, really good training on that dog. However, you couldn't make a mistake. So the big things I told him, I said, he cannot be on your bed. He cannot be on the couch. He cannot have free roaming time in the yard. He needs to go to the bathroom, come back in. He can't be roaming free in your house. He needs to be on place or in the crate. Good luck for the 10 more years of doing that. But right, you can't do it. However, if you did that, Ragnar was pretty good. Like he wasn't bad. It was what the problem is, with dogs. You'll have some trainers and owners listen to this. For a lot of dogs that become anxious and reactive and things like that, the things that cause that are too much freedom of movement, not enough rules and structure, unearned affection, and being on the couch. right? The bed is a different thing. If the dog is a resource guarder, the bed is going to cause problems. If the dog lays at your feet and sleeps all night and never moves, I can negotiate that one. It's not as bad. The couch is a big problem for most people and most dogs. So I'm like, you can't leave it. They had a nice fenced in yard. You can't leave him out there because he paces. He needs to be told yes, no, black, white, always, never. He needs to be told exactly where to be, and I'll feed you. Lay here on place. Don't move. I will still feed you. And he was cool. Now, Maria is an Italian. That's why she has a Cane Corso. I love Maria. Talking, all this and the family and all the wine and all this shit. And so she sent me a video pretty quickly, like a couple weeks after going home, of a whole family gathering at her house, all this, food and all this stuff going on, and Ragnar laying on place, not caring whatsoever. And I was like, fuck yeah, man, keep doing that. It's still a long life, right? She has a teenage son at the time. Well, he may even be about 10 or 12. And then she calls me and she goes, well, he backslid a little bit. I'm like, well, what changed? She goes, I felt bad. So I was just leaving. I put him out in the backyard for like an hour, and my brother went to take the garbage outside, and he ran his ass back into the house. I'm like, I told you, honey, he can't have freedom of movement. He can't. He goes manic.
Can I say something real quick, Eric?
Yes, sir.
Now, with what you're saying, to me, it sounds like one of the type of dogs that I always preach about, that a lot of these breeders still breed to today. They're just totally mentally unsound. It's genetic. It's in them. Sounds to me, is this something that you basically modified all the mental genetic issues that this dog had? And because you're an expert and you got somebody that listened to what you said, was able to keep that stuff modified, that this brain on this dog was wired incorrectly and it's never was going to fix, correct?
Right. And I'll tell you what, Maria found out afterwards, that every single puppy or dog from that litter was euthanized. From those lines. Exactly. Every one of them was euthanized.
It's in the lines, yes.
They all had bites. One of them had 6 bites.
Jesus.
Dog's name was Clubber Lang. I'm like, that's such a good name. Such a good name. But a biter, So what happens is, I said, honey, you can't do that. And knowing what I know about dogs and dog training, I know that, listen, not every single dog that's on the couch is going to become reactive and a problem. Right. Every dog that has those problems is on the couch. And then you add the genetic predisposition to all that stuff. And he was a little, there was some fear stuff in there, but he was a forward aggressive dog on a lot of shit. Right.
He got away with it when he was young.
Right.
Fear motivated it.
Correct. So then what happens is, I love Maria, but she started letting him in the bed, because that's what I got a dog for. Right. I got this dog and I love him. He was good to her. Well, he starts resource guarding the bed and her. And eventually what will happen is the dog will resource guard the wife in the bed against the husband, and then the bed against the wife and the husband. There you go. And then it's over. And then now you have Lord of the Flies in your house, where the kids have taken over and you're fucked. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what happened. The dog was in the bed, started growling. And then Jason came home one day and the dog he went after him. He had to, I think he had to Olay the dog into a closet, and it was just a whole ordeal. And he bit him. And so Ragnar got euthanized. Right. They were like, he was the last standing out of that litter.
So is this your experience with Corso? So this is, and then you said you don't remember that breeder. Doesn't matter anyway. It just was an unstable dog.
I do. I got the story.
He knows who it is, because we
remember this now. Yeah, I got
then where does Tony's dogs come in? Did you get some of Tony's dogs?
Yeah. So that's the first Corso I trained.
So that's your first experience. You're like, what the heck?
I had experience with him, on the police department in the ghetto, some of those dogs. And so I knew, right? But that was the first one I trained. And I think one of the girls who was working for me at the time, around the same time, had one, I don't know from who, a nice dog. I was like, so it is possible, right? Well, then Maria, she still wants a Corso. So do you know who I'm talking about, Tony? You remember
Absolutely. Now I know the story now.
Savransky's is their last name.
You said Italian family, just an incredible family.
So she wants a Corso. I think it was her hairdresser that said, hey, I know this guy from a guy. His name is Tony. He's got these dogs. His dogs are great. So she tells me, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Go ahead. She had done her research She
I'm gonna
had
tell
done
you
her
the link.
research in the meantime
Right.
about that other breeder and saw all the problems, and this is 2019. So information is there, but not even, like it is now. But
The hairdresser link, Eric, dated that police officer, Dana Goldner, that I told you about.
Yeah.
The 2 police dogs.
oh,
That's
okay.
That's there you go. There's the link. Yep.
So she gets a puppy from Tony, and we did the training on the puppy. She names him Tony.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so she names him, and Amanda that works with me, she did the puppy. And then when it came back for the adult, I did the adult training. Tony, to this date, I'll board him at my house, or Amanda will board him at the house. Tony is one of those dogs that was a dream to train. So cool, so nice, big, big baby. Knock your knees out, but he's down, he's doing this, he's recalling, he's off leash, not a problem. He was good with the dog at my dog in my house. She used to be in love with him when he was just back. This time he's still young, and she's 8, and she's like, get your old young ass away from me. But the training stuck. Like, my training is good,
Right.
but the training stuck. And if it sticks on a dog, I always remember that. And so he was just such a good dog. Like, that was a perfect dog. Right. And Maria had talked to other people, from your community that had gotten dogs from Tony. And they're like, oh yeah, they're all the same. Every one of our dogs are exactly, mine's like that, mine's like that, mine's like that. And so then I probably had just finished with Tony when Whitney asked me about it. And I was like, well, yeah, go to this guy, because if all his dogs are like this, and it's impossible to have 100% like that, but this guy's dogs are sweet. And again, like, he was just here a couple months ago, stayed at my house, had a good time. He's great. He's fan-freaking-tastic. Sure. Yeah, everything. Like, he's one of those dogs, like, he'll chill and lay around for a long time, but he'll do, if you want to go hiking, he'll go, I'm down. You're not going to go 5 miles. He's going to come back and go to sleep for half a day, but you know what I mean? Big dogs, they lay around, but he's just fun. Like,
now, as far as protection, Eric, he still has that temperament that he's not afraid of nothing, correct?
He was not afraid. That was a big thing too. I was like, I don't need a dog to show out. I need him to not be afraid of the mailman or the Amazon driver. He's not a serial killer. Not here to, and I don't need you to bark at the window either.
Right.
Yeah, Tony's an amazing dog. And so I credit Maria and Jason with kind of leading me into your lines. And then I on a whim, I just recommended to Whitney. Now here we have this whole podcast and business and everything. It's just, that's funny. Like, how that's crazy how all that went that way. Yeah. And it was because of one really bad dog and a dog the 180 degrees the opposite.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yep. That's what I talk about all the time on our podcast. It's still going on. Those breeders from way back then are still breeding the same stuff. And prior to Jason and I'm getting them dogs, or that dog, those people had been involved in that stuff 20 years prior. And I've told them over and over and over again, you can't breed that shit. You can't fix a messed up brain. You guys are breeding dogs that are mentally unstable. You're breeding mental retardation on top of mental retardation in a dog. It exists. It's crazy as ever.
Yeah, ask the Amish. That's what they've done to the German Shepherds in Ohio.
Some people will say, "Oh, that's just a Corso." Well, you got a Corso.
It's not the Corso.
Yeah.
A real Corso is what
this is a public service announcement to everybody looking. If you're looking for a Corso, Shepherd, anything, any kind of single breed, not a mixed breed dog, like a real dog. If you're paying $400 for the puppy, you're going to get garbage. Yeah. You might get lucky, but you're going to get a dog that's going to be dead at 6 years old from cancer and hip dysplasia. And Whitney sees it. I can tell you, I'm getting 5 dogs next month in March to train. All 5 are German Shepherds. We train more German Shepherds than any dog that we train. I would say every trainer could probably say the same thing. And if you're from this part of the country, the German Shepherd breed is ruined. Yeah. I have one in my truck right now that is phenomenal. It's so nice when you get one, right?
About the fresh air. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had a nice German Shepherd in, I'm going to tell you, probably 2 years. and we get them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's really nice. I taught her, she has a revere, like she'll run around a pole, and I didn't teach her that, but I use it to teach her some e-collar stuff. And then, so this thing is going, right? We're rolling along. Tony's trained. He's coming to me. Whitney's getting her dog. She's got two of them at this point. And then we have a trainer that's working for me, and I have to fire her. So I go to her house to get her dogs that she has. And she has a Corso, a gray one. So my experience with the gray ones are not great. And she has a gray one.
It has nothing to do with the color, but I know what you're saying.
Right. So she has
for Eric as well.
Yeah, right. She has a female, and she only has had the dog for a few days at this point. And when I go to her house, outside is a whole bunch of crates, dirty shit filled crates. And that was from that dog, and she just hadn't cleaned them. She just happened to have 20, 25 crates in her house, and the dog was shit. She was like, it got out of hand where she couldn't keep up.
Right.
So I get the dog. She walks the dog out, puts her in a crate in my van I had at the time. I take her down to the facility over by Whitney's place. And as soon as you touch the crate door, complete evacuation of her bowels, like tar. And it like pee, poop, everything. And that was every single time you touched the gate to the crate to get her out. Yeah. And just, I used to have a video on my phone. I deleted it because there's no point in it. And it was so bad. So I put my bite suit on, and trying to think how I did it. I think I took a pole with a slip lead and let it slide down over her head. Now, when I got her out of the crate, she didn't try to bite me, but she was trying to
running for cover.
Trying to go to Cleveland, right? She's going to run away, cowering.
Yeah.
And then, like, I turned real fast, walking anything. I walked her into the building, the kennel building, shit everywhere, put her in there, shit, piss. And I'm like, I haven't even fed you. How do you have this much in you? And then I talked to the lady who owns the dog. She's in a walker, and like a cane walker thing, and her husband's bedridden. And they wanted this dog to be have public access, not a service dog, but public access. Like, she goes, I want to take the dog with me to like the store. I'm like,
never,
ma'am. I made her come get the dog. I said, I'm just not going to, I can't do anything. And I told her, I said, listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk. This dog shouldn't be alive. This is actually cruel.
Right. Yeah.
This dog should not be alive. She got the dog from a rescue or somebody. So I never did find out who the breeder was. The worst thing I've ever seen. And it was just a dog that I can't imagine the hell in that dog's brain. But that was bred by somebody.
Oh yeah.
That dog, you know.
These breeders breed that shit.
Somebody bred that into him. Yeah.
If she would have went back to the breeder, instead of getting euthanized, those breeders would have either bred her again, because that's what they do. They don't give a shit. It's all about money. Mass-produced puppies. It's a sick thing. It's so inhumane. It's unreal. They'd have bred her, or they would have just sold her to somebody else instead of euthanized her. Now, here's the crazy thing with me, and the reason that you see what you see coming from me is I've been doing it 37 years, way back 37 years ago, 35 years ago, 32 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 25. I put a lot of dogs down. That shit got right out of the program. I didn't sell them to somebody, unsuspected customer that wouldn't know better, that like these breeders do. They keep lying to them, and they tell them, what's your fault? It's what you did. You didn't raise it right. Oh, your trainer didn't do it right. It's your trainer's fault. Get another educated trainer. No, it's the genetics in the mind. It's, and I'm sure it goes in a million different breeds, but in this breed, one of the biggest problems, and it's a personal breeder that does it. These breeders continue to do this. It's their fault. They breed this stuff that they know is so mentally unsound. It's unbelievable. And it's all about profit for them. It wasn't the hardest thing in the world. What I did is just never would use that. Never would use it. Better and better stable dogs, flying over to Italy 3 years straight, finding and putting my hands on the best dogs, mentally sound, parents, grandparents. It's not an accident to have what I got. It's an educated decisions is what I did in my breeding program to get dogs to come to somebody like you, and you that's an expert at what you do, be able to talk about them the way you do. And Whitney, the same thing. These dogs are coming to you guys. You're like, this is what we're looking for. This is what every dog in every breed like this should be, in my opinion, that's what they should be.
Yeah.
And some people will say, well, it's not a Corso, if it's that stable of a temperament or whatever. Like they just think that they're these nervy dogs. Whitney and I have this conversation about my personal Corso all the time. He's stable. He's not nervy. He's not nervous of things. He's still, a large puppy, but there's a big difference, for somebody. And that's what's sad is that the general public are starting to look at these dogs. And like Tony, you say that some of these breeders are purposely breeding these dogs.
They don't care.
Fiery and all these things that we as consumers, as pet owners that are looking for these dogs that I think deserve to have these dogs are getting, it's misunderstood of what they actually should be.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Pam, didn't you just meet the guy with the Doberman that won? Did you meet him up at a show or something?
It was just a fun story. My daughter and I, my 9-year-old daughter, went and showed Baymax for the first time ever right in Ohio. And we roomed down from that guy. He was just a class act, man. Just and I was like, oh, that's a nice Doberman. The guy was just really nice. Yeah. He was.
Didn't he say something to you about Baymax or?
No, he just said, he was like, oh, it's a really nice dog, because we were kind of walking in the hallway, it's a nice looking Corso or whatever. So that was my moment to fame for a second there.
Yeah. We train, I have a relationship with a couple people, and we train probably 50 Dobermans a year at Ridgeside. And we can tell the ones that come from the one, or there's 2 breeders that we use that we train for. We can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. And sometimes you get a dog from not those 2 people, and they're like, yeah, that's pretty nice.
It's all right. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But my people that do the Dobermans have become such experts at that. It's just like if you were going to get a trained, like if somebody called me and they want this, and this on training on a Corso, I mean, I'll train Corsos all day long. But if there's like, we want a long-term bubble, I send them to Whitney, because she's probably at this point done more Corsos than anyone in this area, I would say, or anyone in Northeast Ohio. Right. So that just depends. Like if they want a regular, some training, I'll do it. But if they're like, yeah, we want this, and then we want to board them, we want them, maybe breed, whatever. I'm like, listen, I'll give you to the Corso person.
She understands it, right? She understands the breed,
Yeah.
And Whitney understands the breed, unfortunately. She's seen the messes. She's seen the problems. She didn't just see all the good stuff. And until we started working together, when she came to me, it was when you had her call me. Like, she told me that you had her call. She said, listen, he said absolutely nobody but you, period. Now I know why.
Yeah.
And clearly, when I told her, listen, I'm not going to tell you a bunch of shit on the phone. Get your ass up here and come see them. Come visit the kennel. And she's got
a sample size of 1. So that was a flyer, like telling her, so I, but the one I saw I was like, shit, man, if they're even 3/4 this good, you can't go wrong based on what I had seen already, and I like Corsos. I like them a lot, actually. If they're like,
they're well bred.
Yeah.
An incredible breed.
They're a pleasure. They're a pleasure. The slobber, my wife's not a fan of sometimes. That's the one thing with Tony, is he'll throw some stuff under the ceiling, but that's just you're going to be surprised when you get that breed. You're like, oh, I didn't know. It's like you didn't know you had a husky, and there'd be hair all over your house, or whatever,
Yeah.
So
it's funny. I credit a lot of the temperament stuff with the dogs, and I almost bet you're the same way I am. Everybody tells me around that even comes to my house like, dude, you got OCD issues. You know what I mean? Like, your remotes have to be on the corner of the table, and everything, you got the same shit. So with the dogs, I've had that same OCD issues from 37 years ago when I was a child to how I breed my dogs. It has to be flawless. I don't want this little tiny, well, the temperament's good, but it's 90%. I don't want it, man. I want 110%. Like, so OCD, it's unreal. And I know that you do that with your training. So when you do your training, every dog that leaves your place, to the level of that dog's mental capacity, you've got it all out of them. You've worked everything there is, because that's who you are. With the dogs, my whole kennel, it's not just the one that people see. Like when I tell Whitney, get your ass down here, the whole kennel. And I tell people this all over the country. I'll pay their flight to fly them out just because I want them to see. And they're like, well, no, I'm not buying anything. I don't care if you're buying anything. You're in California, you're in Florida. I want you to be able to tell everybody in that area that you were on my yard and you saw through the kennel, the whole kennel, bulletproof dogs. The same outgoing, confident, fearless, and still will bite you if you messed around with my family or me. They're going to light your ass up. out of just mental stability.
Mm-hmm.
And when Whitney came up, I think it was over. She came through the whole kennel. She's like, holy
well,
shit.
I gotta have you tell the story about, this is my very first introduction with you. I said, hey, my friend Eric sent me here. He said he's working, one of your dogs is incredible. This is what I want. And, we didn't know each other. I said, listen, I can handle a tough dog. I want a tough dog, and so he listened to everything I want. I looked through the whole kennel and I said, I want a dog from that bitch. And he said, no. And I said, no, I like her a lot. And he goes, no. He goes, your friend, he said, if I sent you dogs home from that female, he's not going to think as highly as if I send you dogs from that female. And so he wanted me to come back and show you the best of the best of the best.
That's funny.
Yeah. And that was Henry and James. But I thought, you're really, and I said, you're not going to sell dogs out of there. And he goes, absolutely not.
No, Henry and James are bros,
the best
dude.
of the best.
Yeah.
And
Henry and James were great picks.
The other one, right? Not that there was anything wrong with the one she's talking about. Just a little bit more too laid back. Not going to give enough. Just too laid back. I wanted, you're a police guy. Yeah. I need something a little bit more for you to see.
Yeah, he didn't want me to show up with pet dogs. He wanted me to show up with some dogs that were really going to impress you, and you were very impressed with Henry and James.
Yeah. And so far, you're batting 1,000 with me, buddy. So,
what I tell people, my job as a breeder is to breed the best dogs that I can possibly breed, and to match those dogs with the right families. I don't train. Could I train a little bit? Absolutely. I could train. You'd be impressed. You know what I mean? But I can't dedicate my life to training, because my life has been dedicated to breeding, where you're a trainer. You don't have time to dedicate to breeding. So people like ourselves, breeders and great breeders and great trainers, have to work together. It's the best thing in the world, because now trainers get the best dogs that are well-bred from an educated breeder that knows what they're doing, not just some fly-by-night shit that comes flying through the kennel. And, as trainers, like you said, the Doberman, you got two specific ones you're working with. You obviously like both of them, but you can tell the differences in both of them. Same with every dog that I breed. I know what each one's going to give, because I'm following them. I'm watching them. I see how they act, know the characters all the way through 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We know the temperaments of them. So it's in any breed. You can pick the best stuff and breed the best stuff. That's my job, and that's breeders' jobs, that they're supposed to do that. To give trainers like yourself the incredible dogs. Like Whitney, she's got, 5 dogs right now? 4 dogs? A couple trainer dogs, her own dogs, maybe a total of 7 down there. All of them with incredible, impeccable temperaments. And like, she's seen a lot of that other stuff. She won't even take it anymore. She's done. She's done training that shit. She's just honest with the people. And it's hard for a trainer. It was hard for her to accept it. And I've told her multiple times, Whit, you can't fix that shit. Stop taking it. Tell the people the reality and the truth. You got to euthanize a dog. Somebody's going to get seriously bit. It's never going to be right. That's not what you want in your family home. You don't want something that's not going to be this perfect dog, and those are never going to be perfect. It was hard for her, but that's because she's competitive, and she took the challenges on. And after you train and try to work with someone, you realize that, listen, there's screws loose in this shit. I can't fix this. It's modifiable, but it's never fixable. So she's doing the right thing, and she's had several people throw the towel in and say, listen, you know what? I'm going to listen to her. She's the expert. When Eric Stanbro or Whitney Whitaker tell somebody a dog should be euthanized, it's not safe. It's not safe. Euthanize a dog.
We've never been wrong. I can tell you that.
No, absolutely. And that's a hard thing for you guys to say. You don't want to tell anybody that. You love dogs. You guys are dog lovers. I'm a dog lover. I get accused of being cruel sometimes by a lot of people and other breeds. Oh, he's so goddamn cruel. He might put everything down. No. Put your unstable shit down. Change your breeding program. Some of them should just start over. Call 98% of their breeding program and start over, and you'd be doing great for the breed. I don't care about these breeders out there. Everybody wants to make $1 million. Make your $1 million. Make your hundreds of thousands. Better the breed in the process. Don't just keep pumping out garbage nonstop. I get a lot of people that come to me, and they're breeders that are breeding some of that unstable shit. Yeah, I want to get some better stuff. I'm going to sell a bunch of these. I'm like, you ain't getting shit from me. Yeah. What do you mean? You won't sell me a dog? No, I won't sell you a dog, because you're going to breed it to that unstable shit. Well, when can I get a dog from you? When you start over. That's when you get a dog from me.
Pam, how many dogs do you have?
Shit in that. You know what I mean?
How many dogs do I have? I have 1 Corso.
Okay. All right.
She learned the hard way. She learned the hard way.
Hoarding dogs. Milligan Valley's got enough for everybody.
Pam's story's a great story. But
yeah. I had one kind of not great Corso, and that's how I found Tony. And then I found
sweet.
Whitney through Tony. Yeah, so that was a fun story too. So I have a little bit of experience with the not great Corso. And this Corso I have now, I told Tony, just like he said, I gave Tony the responsibility of picking my dog for me. I waited months for that
I gotta
dog
grab this real quick
so that he could pick that dog.
Hello.
So just
Hello.
one Scandifio Corso is what
Yeah.
I have. Mhm.
Did you get a Whitney trained one, like one of the when they started this, or you just get a puppy?
Nope, I had Tony pick my puppy, and I had, kind of been prepared for my other puppy, just a little bit of training. And then when I got my dog is when I found Whitney and just started, using her here and there. And then I just roped her into being my friend and said, hey, we're going to get in line because Tony needs to be here. And now we're friends. And she helped me really kind of pinpoint a lot of stuff with my dog and just gave me a lot of confidence as a dog owner and trainer enthusiast to train my dog. I always say that she gives me a lot of confidence to do what I do and of understanding of the breed, and to really a big thing that she helped me take home, literally my dog. And I've traveled to her too with my dog. Is you have to train the dog that's in front of you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And and to learn him. So she has been a very pivotal person in our
they're not
training
robots,
course.
you know what I mean? So
And I just learned from her so much. And that's what I love about, Eric and then Tony and of course Whitney now is you guys are all for the dogs and for the people. You're not, you're not gatekeeping things. Tony is out here helping other breeders. Hey, let's restart your program. I will show you everything I do so you can better the breed too, because I can't do it alone.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's where Eric and Whitney both. I mean, Whitney is just like, yes, you want to train your dog right? Come on down. I will show you everything I know as long as you put it in play. So she's
like,
just been amazing.
When we get Dobermans that come in, I don't train them. The people who train 50 Dobermans a year, they train them. I can train Dobermans like a champ, but they know the nuances, if because they're doing like there's 5 of them there right now. 5.
I love it.
Dobermans.
That's awesome.
And if we're doing e-collar, we'd use a different e-collar on most Dobermans than we do the regular, the regular dogs, and we do this thing and that thing's different. And you can tell when there's a Doberman puppy in the building because their sound they make in the crate is a little bit different. And they're like, oh, it's just Doberman, and they've become experts at the ear posting and they, and all that stuff and bathing them the right way. And I'm like, I don't know any of that shit, so I'm just gonna let somebody else do it.
Well, she can understand, and Whitney has been there too. And to say, like, because some people get the wrong idea, oh, that's just a Corso. Well, Whitney says that too, but in a good context. Hey, you're not going to take the Corso out of a Corso. Like some people will say, oh yeah, they just lay around. No, it's still a Corso. You're still training a Corso. It's just a stable Corso.
Yeah.
Right?
Resting is okay. It's doing nothing is a good decision for some of those dogs at times. I mean, it's good.
Yep. Yeah.
You'll like this. Maria and Jason bought they bought Tony a Playmate. They got a Frenchie, and they named him Silvio. So it's Tony and Silvio, and we trained Silvio too. He's funny, but the two of them, they look like Big and Little Enos Burdette from the Smokey and the Bandit back in the day. Tony did that one. The rest of you youngins probably not, but
yeah, you lost that one on me.
Yeah.
Well, Whitney doesn't watch TV anyway.
Fun. I've been wanting to have you on for a long time and want you guys to finally meet. We're going to get Tony and even Pam. Next time you're up, we'll get you over to the fun house. We'll take Jeffrey. My newest co-own with Tony is a dog named Jeffrey. Off the hook.
Really?
He's about 15 weeks now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Probably the best dog that I've owned to date. Hopefully he continues.
I like human names on dogs.
Really nice dogs.
Jeffrey's a good name.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, I like it.
I named him Jeffrey after my dad.
I'm not used to the names, the people names. We had that talk last night. I'm used to all the powerful names and the strong names and
I love human names.
Yeah.
Who's this? This is Matt. My dog.
Until my daughter came along. My daughter's 12 years old now, and then about 6 years ago, when she's naming all these dogs, and I got Rapunzels and shit and stuff from like the winter dog from the Dolphin Tale, from all these little kids movies. I got my buddies like, dude, what's up with those names? I was like, listen, man, I got a daughter. I don't have
Yeah,
much
right.
of a choice.
You
She's
can
the
sing
boss.
the
She said,
sing
name
the
it
Frozen
this, name it that.
song.
And then now Whitney come
Right.
along and she's naming them people's names. I'm like, Whitney, I'm not.
Hey,
used
my
to that.
dog is named after a Disney character,
Yeah,
Baymax.
that's how it goes.
Yeah.
We got kids.
Yeah.
That's
our
hilarious.
kids. Yeah, one thing I want to say real quick before
we're
we
gonna
go. I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but so, Eric, I want to thank you, incredibly thank you. And it's great to finally meet you. I appreciate you. People like yourself are the best type of people that we're going to ever have on these podcasts. So, I hope this spreads wild and goes viral. So one of the things that, I want to talk about one of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made in my 37 years of breeding these dogs. One of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made is different than you didn't make the mistake. You came on, you said, how long ago did you come on and start doing podcasts? What year did you say?
February of 18.
18. I made the biggest mistake of my life not coming on here. I've been asked by many, many people, you need to start a podcast. There's a bunch of, and I hate to say the word ass clowns out there representing your breed. And, it's terrible information. It's horrific information. I thank Pam and Whitney for finally putting a choke chain on me and correcting me a couple of times and saying, dude, you're getting your ass on here, whether you like it or not. I don't know how to do this kind of shit. They do it. Pam does it. I'm not familiar with stuff like this, but it's the same story that I've been telling people for many years about the dogs. So all the people that only if you talk to me did you get to learn all these truth and realities. Now with these podcasts, we're reaching people across the nation, across the world, and now they're learning. I wish I would have came on 10 years ago. It would have been the best thing in the world for the breed. So, I've never did anything bad for the breed, in my opinion. I've hurt the breed where I didn't come on that much longer ago. They would have been in a much better place. So hopefully these podcasts and things put pressure on other breeders to start breeding better dogs, stop breeding that unstable stuff. And that's one of the goals. I don't care about making money. I don't care less if I make a dime from this stuff. I say the F-bomb once in a while too, Eric. And, it's sometimes
I've been good so far.
Yeah,
you
we
really
both
have.
have.
Like 3 words, that's it.
Very educational today. But, the thing is, when I've done it a couple times, I got off the podcast, and I say to Pam, damn, I said F-bomb, man. And they're like, listen, Tony, here's the problem. It's not a problem with you. When you do it, you can see your passion that you have. And when you're talking about something, you're so upset about what these people are doing with the breed. Same with you guys. When you say it, it's a passion. It's something that just triggers you because you're that passionate about what you do. So, we definitely got to back off the words.
Although Whitney doesn't really give F-bombs, she actually gives looks. And I've experienced one before. And a funny story, we were at a dog show and I was behind her. I had my dog and then she had her dog. You were showing your dog that day, right?
Yeah.
And the dog was just distracted and it was kind of looking at me. And I was giving the dog an appropriate kibble that I knew the dog could have. And it was because it was trying to veer off somebody else. And Whitney turned around with this look. And I was like, woo, that's why I know dogs are scared of you. I said, are you mad at me? And she's like, no. She doesn't have to drop F-bombs. That's why she's so good with dogs. It's like
just an
magic.
eyebrow. Right?
I thought
all the energy. And I was like, ooh, I felt what those dogs
Pam's
feel.
like,
What do you need?
my soul left my body.
Yes, it did.
I thought somebody else was touching my dog. And I'm like, nobody touch it. Oh, it's just you.
I don't want to be that somebody else.
I will kill. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's just me. I swear I love you.
So let me give you one last thing before I leave, and this just comes from experience and my long experience in the dog world, especially in the dog social media space, is the dog world sucks, right? There's a lot of weird, goofy people, and there's drama in every breed page, every breed thing, every training thing, every nonstop drama. My suggestion to you, Tony, is to stand on your brand. Okay. Don't worry about the bullshit. Don't worry about all the negativity that other people are doing. And if you got people that don't like you because you're successful, screw them. Don't read the comments from people like that. You just keep doing your thing. Talk about you and your breed and the stuff you guys got going on. And then on your social media, I think I've seen videos, you're showing, in the whelping room, dogs, and you do that thing. You be above everybody else.
Right. Okay.
Let all the bullshit people who won't be here 5 years from now.
Exactly. Yes.
Don't get tied up on what they say. Stay positive, stay in the forefront, and stand on your dogs.
Okay.
Right. Let your dogs be the brand. Right. And then it's proven.
Right.
Don't get it. It's so hard not to, because you can get pissed.
Right.
This guy said that guy. Listen, cool. I gotta go. I got great puppies. I gotta take care of.
I got
Right.
shit I gotta do. Yep.
And you know what I mean? And then you will always be the guy that people are going to come on and listen to, because fuck, man, in this world of all this negativity and bullshit, I like this dude. Like he's talking about how awesome Jeffrey is, you know, that type of thing. So something that it's a trap that people in this industry can get into. And I can tell you, because I'm a big connoisseur of podcasts, and I listen to all dog podcast, a lot of different podcasts.
Right.
And if I'm on there and the person's always trying to defend themselves when no one attacked them, or defend themselves because it's the nature of the business, I'm like, I feel bad for that dude. I'm gonna check out. So you don't need to defend yourself on nobody, buddy.
Right.
Your shit's good. So
and technically we're all here because of the butterfly effect of Eric Stanbro knowing a good
here
Corso.
we go.
We are. Think about that butterfly effect. Think about that, because
it's easy, right?
I would not know Whitney if Tony did not know Whitney.
Mhm.
And we would not be sitting here right now had, I secretly, like I always tell Whitney, I swear I tell her all the time, I roped you to be my friend. I knew I wanted you to be my friend. And for us to start this, it's just such a cool story. I love it.
It is neat how that all worked out.
And you're
I think
right.
what Eric is trying to say too is Tony's dogs speak for themselves.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can hate them. You can hate all you want. That man's dogs speak for themselves. It's just, they just do.
Yeah, and Tony's not out here to have everybody like him. He'll tell you that all day long. I don't need everybody to like me. I just produce great dogs.
Right. That's it.
And
what
that's
I
okay.
like to do. Yeah, that's it. I got a mission.
Imagine what Jesus had to go through back in the day.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know,
Nobody liked him.
I'm good. You all right? You cool? You sure? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate all the kind words and everything. It's very nice of you.
Yeah. So I will post up where you guys can find Eric. So support him and his amazing podcast. And we are just
guys,
so
get Eric's book.
Yes, the e-collar, right?
Yeah, e-collar without conflict.
Yep.
It's a bestseller on Amazon. Thank you very much.
Yep.
You got a copy you can hold up around you, or no?
No,
okay.
I'm the worst too.
Next time, we'll do another one.
Man, I was thinking we were gonna be slick and
just look up my name on Amazon. You won't even get to the A in my name; it'll pop up. It's 68 pages. It is not, or 64. It's written by a Neanderthal for Neanderthals. So.
We will post all of that.
Link it up. Book is what you're saying.
It's all right. Yeah.
The real deal. Yep.
Yeah.
E-collar without conflict. Anybody, you all have my socials. You can DM me. I'll send you the link if you forget. Great book. Get that book.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
I love you all. Great
All right. Thanks, guys.